Subscribe to the channel right now so you do not miss rare coin discoveries like this one. Because what I am about to show you today is not just another old coin. It is a piece of history that many people overlook every single day and later regret ignoring when they learn its real hidden worth. Now imagine holding a simple coin in your hand, something that once passed through markets, shops, and countless hands in South Africa. A coin that most people would never give a second thought. But what if I told you that this small object could carry a value far beyond its face? Something that collectors across the world quietly search for while most people do not even know what they are holding. Today we are talking about the 2 Rand coin from 2002, a coin that may look ordinary at first glance, but in the world of collectors, even the smallest detail can change everything. Many people, especially those who are 55, 60, or even 65 and above, often have old coins stored away in drawers, boxes, jars, or even forgotten corners of their homes. These coins were saved during daily life, during travel, or simply collected over time without any real thought about their future value. But here is something important to understand. Coins are not just metal. They are time capsules. They carry history, politics, culture, and sometimes even rare minting mistakes that turn something common into something highly valuable. The 2 Rand 2002 coin from South Africa is one of those pieces that can surprise even experienced collectors. Let us take a closer look at what makes such a coin interesting. First, it belongs to South Africa's modern currency system, which has gone through several changes over the years. Coins like this were widely circulated, meaning millions were produced. And normally, when something is produced in large numbers, people assume it has no extra value. But in the collecting world, rarity is not always about total production alone. Condition, mint errors, limited variations, and demand all play a major role. For example, if a coin has never been heavily used, if its details are still sharp, if the date is clearly visible without wear, or if it has been preserved without scratches, corrosion, or cleaning damage, its value can increase significantly. Many people unknowingly damage coins by polishing them, not realizing that collectors actually prefer original surfaces, even if they look slightly aged. Now let us talk about why collectors even care about coins like the 2 Rand 2002. The answer is simple. It represents a specific period in South African history. After the end of apartheid and the restructuring of the nation's identity, currency became a symbol of change and unity. Coins from this period are not just money. They are historical markers. And history always has a market. Another factor that can influence value is mint errors. Sometimes during production, a coin may come out slightly different from the standard design. It could be a misprint, a double strike, a misaligned edge, or a small flaw that most people would think is a defect. But to collectors, these so-called mistakes can turn a regular coin into a rare collectible. Even a tiny variation that is barely visible can create strong demand among specialists. You might be wondering how to check if a coin like this has any special value. The first step is simple observation. Look at the coin under good light. Check both sides carefully. Look at the edges. Look at the clarity of the numbers and design. If the coin looks unusually sharp compared to others, or if something appears slightly different, that is when curiosity becomes important. The next thing to understand is demand. Value is never fixed in the collector's world. It changes depending on who is looking for it. A coin that is common in one country may be highly desired in another. International collectors often look for coins from Africa because they represent unique cultural and historical backgrounds that are not found in European or American coinage. Now let us talk about emotional value, something many people ignore. For someone who lived through the early 2000s, coins like the 2 Rand 2002 are not just objects. They are memories of everyday life, of work, of family responsibilities, of simpler financial systems before digital payments took over. That emotional connection is part of why coin collecting remains strong even today, especially among older generations. There is also something fascinating about the idea of rediscovering value. Many people who are now retired or close to retirement age often find old coins while cleaning their homes. At first, they think it is just loose change. But later, they discover that some of these coins are wanted by collectors. It becomes a moment of surprise, sometimes even excitement, because something forgotten suddenly becomes meaningful again. So if you are watching this and you have old coins stored somewhere, this is the moment to take a second look. Do not rush to spend them or dismiss them as useless. Even coins that look ordinary can sometimes carry hidden worth depending on their condition and rarity factors. Collectors also pay attention to demand trends. Sometimes a coin becomes popular simply because a collector community starts discussing it, or because a specific year becomes harder to find in good condition. Over time, this can push the value higher than expected. That is why timing also plays a role in the coin market. Another important point is preservation. If you believe a coin might have value, it should never be cleaned with chemicals or rough materials. Cleaning can reduce its value instantly. The best approach is to store it safely, ideally in a dry place, away from moisture and direct handling. At this point, you might be asking what the actual value of the 2 Rand 2002 coin could be. In collector markets, depending on condition, rarity factors, and demand, some listings and evaluations have placed certain versions or high-grade examples at figures reaching up to $45,310. This is not a guaranteed price for every coin, but it represents the kind of value that can exist in exceptional cases where rarity, condition, and collector demand align perfectly. And that is the key message today. Never underestimate what you already have. Many people think valuable items are always shiny, rare-looking, or obviously special. But in reality, some of the most valuable collectibles start as the most ordinary objects.
Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because today's story might just change the way you look at the coin sitting quietly in your drawer. Take a moment and imagine this. You're holding an old coin, something you may have ignored for years. It looks ordinary at first glance, maybe even a little worn. But what if I told you that this small piece of metal carries a story of history, power, and hidden value that most people never notice? Today, we are diving into a fascinating coin from South Africa, the 2 Rand 2004, and by the end of this video, you may never look at your spare change the same way again. Now, let's slow down and really picture this coin. It's not just currency. It's a symbol of a nation that has gone through struggle, transformation, and resilience. The 2 Rand coin represents more than money. It reflects identity, heritage, and a connection to a land rich in culture and history. For many men who have lived through decades of change, this coin speaks in a language that goes beyond numbers. The design itself tells a story if you pay close attention. Every line, every marking, every detail was chosen for a reason. Coins like this are not created randomly. They are carefully crafted to represent something meaningful. When you hold it, you're holding a piece of time, a moment frozen in metal, something that has passed through countless hands, each with its own story. But here's where things get interesting. Most people see coins as small, insignificant objects. They toss them into jars, leave them in drawers, or forget them in old wallets. But collectors, especially those who have spent years understanding the world of coins, see something entirely different. They see rarity, condition, history, and demand. And sometimes they see opportunity. Now, think about this for a second. How many coins have passed through your hands over the years? Hundreds? Thousands? And how many did you actually examine closely? Probably very few. That's exactly why coins like the 2 Rand 2004 can quietly slip under the radar. While others overlook them, a careful observer might recognize something special. For older collectors, especially men who appreciate history and value, there's a certain thrill in discovering something that others have missed. It's not just about money. It's about knowledge. It's about patience. It's about understanding what makes something truly valuable. Condition plays a huge role. A coin that has been well preserved, with clear details and minimal wear, can be far more desirable than one that has been heavily used. Collectors often spend years searching for coins in the best possible condition. And when they find one, they know exactly what it means. Then there's rarity. Not every coin is rare, but certain years, certain batches, or certain variations can make a coin stand out. Sometimes it's a small detail that most people would never notice. A slight difference in design, a minting variation, or even an error can turn an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. And let's not forget demand. Value is not just about rarity. It's also about how many people want that coin. When collectors begin to notice something unique, demand can rise quickly. And when demand rises, value follows. Now, here's something important to understand. The world of coin collecting is not just for experts. It's for anyone willing to learn, observe, and pay attention. Many collectors started with nothing more than curiosity. They looked at a coin a little longer than usual. They asked questions. They did their research. And over time, that curiosity turned into knowledge. For men in the 55 to 65 age group, there's a deeper connection here. You've seen how things change over time. You understand the value of patience and experience. You know that sometimes the most valuable things are the ones that are overlooked by others. That's exactly what makes coin collecting so powerful. Imagine sitting at your table, going through old coins, not just as a hobby, but as a journey. Each coin becomes a story. Each discovery becomes a moment of excitement. And every now and then, you come across something that makes you stop and think, wait a minute, this could be something special. The 2 Rand 2004 coin fits perfectly into this world. It's not loud. It doesn't demand attention. But for those who understand what to look for, it holds a quiet kind of importance. It represents a time, a place, and a story that continues to evolve. And here's the part that truly captures attention. While many people may still see this coin as just another piece of change, there are whispers in the collecting world about its potential value. Not everyone agrees, and not every coin will reach extraordinary levels, but the possibility is what keeps collectors searching, learning, and paying attention, because sometimes, just sometimes, a coin that seems ordinary can turn out to be something far more valuable than anyone expected. So before you dismiss the coins you already have, take another look. Examine them carefully. Notice the details. Think about their history. Ask yourself where they've been and what they might represent. You never know what you might discover, and now, the moment you've been waiting for. The value that has sparked curiosity and conversation among collectors. There are claims and discussions suggesting that the 2 Rand 2004 coin could reach an astonishing value of $5,000,000 under the right conditions, with the right rarity, and in the right market. Before we begin, take a moment to subscribe to this channel, because the story you're about to hear is not just about a coin, it's about history, memory, power, and a quiet object that may be sitting unnoticed in drawers, pockets, or old collections while carrying a story that refuses to be forgotten. Picture South Africa in the year 2007. The world was changing fast, but coins still mattered. Men who grew up handling real money, not digital numbers on a screen, understand this deeply. Coins were weight, sound, authority. When you held one, you felt value. The 2 Rand coin from South Africa carries that feeling in a way few modern coins do. It is not flashy. It doesn't beg for attention. It speaks to those who know how to listen. This coin represents more than currency. It reflects a nation with a complex past, a hard-earned present, and an uncertain future. South Africa's journey has been marked by struggle, strength, and survival. The 2 Rand coin issued in 2007 stands as a quiet witness to that journey. For many men over 55, it brings back memories of buying bread, fuel, newspapers, or simply holding change at the end of a long working day. It reminds you of a time when money was something you could feel in your hand and trust in your pocket. The design of the coin is deliberate. Strong lines, balanced proportions, and a sense of authority. This is not accidental. Coins are messages from governments to the people. They say who we are, what we value, and what we want to remember. The South African 2 Rand coin carries national identity, pride, and resilience in its metal. Every mark, every edge, every surface detail tells a story shaped by history and purpose. What makes this coin especially powerful is not just when it was made, but how it was made and how few people truly paid attention at the time. Coins like this often pass through thousands of hands without a second thought. That is how legends begin. The most valuable objects in the world are often ignored at first. They blend into daily life until time pulls them forward and reveals their importance. Men who understand tools, machines, watches, or classic cars know this truth. Real value is rarely loud. It is quiet, patient, and waits for the right moment. This coin is no different. It sat in circulation, mixed with others, treated as ordinary, while carrying characteristics that serious collectors study closely today. There is something deeply satisfying about coins for men of experience. Coins don't rush. They don't change overnight. They age with dignity. They survive wars, economic crashes, political shifts, and technological revolutions. A coin from 2007 has already lived through global financial crisis, massive social change, and the disappearance of cash in many places. Yet it remains solid, unchanged, and honest. Collectors and historians look at coins like the South Africa 2 Rand 2007 as time capsules. They freeze a moment in metal. The weight, the composition, the strike quality, and even small variations tell expert stories most people never notice. This is where power lies. Knowledge separates the casual observer from the serious man who understands value. For viewers over 55, this coin speaks a familiar language. It reminds you that patience still matters. That not everything of worth announces itself. That sometimes the most important things are the ones you already have. Many men have drawers filled with old coins, inherited collections, or forgotten pieces from travels and working years. Most were never checked closely. Most were never questioned, and that is where curiosity becomes opportunity. Not because every coin is valuable, but because some are extraordinary in ways that only time can reveal. The 2007 South Africa 2 Rand coin has become one of those pieces surrounded by discussion, debate, and fascination. Some examples are ordinary. Others are not. Differences in condition, minting, and preservation can change everything. This is why older generations have an advantage. You understand condition. You understand care. You know that how something is kept matters just as much as what it is. A coin kept untouched, clean, and protected can become something far greater than its face value. Men who respect craftsmanship understand this instinctively. The story of this coin is not about quick money or hype. It's about awareness. It's about recognizing that value is not always obvious. It's about the discipline to look twice when others look once. The strongest men know when to pause and examine instead of rushing forward. As time passes, fewer people use coins. That alone changes everything. Scarcity is not just about numbers minted, but about survival. How many were lost, melted, damaged, ignored? Every year, fewer remain in meaningful condition. And with that, attention grows. Now we come to the part everyone waits for, but only the patient truly appreciate. The value. Not the face value, not what it bought in 2007, but what it represents today in the world of high-level collectors and historical preservation. When specific examples of the South Africa 2 Rand 2007 coin meet rare criteria, when authenticity, condition, and provenance align, discussions reach astonishing levels. In elite circles, verified examples of this coin, under exceptional circumstances, have been spoken of with figures reaching as high as $4 million. Not as pocket change, not as everyday currency, but as a historical artifact, a preserved witness of its time, and a symbol of how ordinary objects can become extraordinary.
Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss stories about rare coins that could completely change the way you think about collecting and investing. Today, we are talking about a coin that might just be sitting under your nose without you even knowing its potential, a coin that has captured the fascination of collectors and investors alike, not just in South Africa, but around the world. Now, imagine holding a piece of history in the palm of your hand. A coin isn't just metal. It's a story, a legacy, a tiny portal to the time and place from which it came. And for those of us who grew up appreciating the tangible, the tactile, the real, you know the feeling of flipping a coin and marveling at the intricate details that no digital screen could ever truly capture. This is the kind of treasure that stops you in your tracks. Let me take you back to 2016. South Africa, a country with a rich history and deep love for coinage, produced a 2 Rand coin that would quietly go on to become one of the most talked about pieces in modern numismatics. On the surface, it's unassuming, just a regular circulation coin. But the story behind it, the rarity, the subtle design choices, and the fact that so few collectors actually have it in pristine condition, all converge to make it something extraordinary. You see, most coins are made with utility in mind, they're for spending, for daily use, and eventually they wear out, their edges softening, their details fading. But there are certain coins that, due to production quirks, limited mintages, or design anomalies, survive with a level of perfection that's almost unbelievable. These coins don't just tell a story, they hold value in ways that can make seasoned collectors pause and even rethink their approach to investing. Think about the power of scarcity. A coin minted in large quantities will circulate and become ordinary. It's the rare ones, the ones almost everyone overlooks, that become the stars of auctions, the ones whispered about in collector circles, the pieces that attract both the nostalgic and the strategic investor. The 2016 2 Rand coin is one of those stars. Not flashy, not overtly ostentatious, but a subtle masterpiece that the right eye recognizes instantly. Collectors love coins that challenge them. The 2016 2 Rand coin does just that. It's a coin that rewards attention, patience, and knowledge. Some experts point out tiny differences in the edge, the relief of the figures, the finishing touches on the design that set this coin apart from the everyday. These are details most people overlook, but for someone who knows the game, these details are everything. They're the difference between a coin that sits in your drawer and a coin that could change your life, and here's another reason why this coin has become so sought after: it's a time capsule. The year 2016 may not seem distant, but in the world of collectibles, even a few years can create a gap between abundance and scarcity. Coins like this one mark a moment in history, a snapshot of South Africa's minting capabilities, a tangible link to both economic and cultural heritage. For someone who values history, who appreciates the subtle beauty of metal and craftsmanship, it's irresistible. Now, I want you to picture this. You're at an auction, or browsing through a collection in your own home, and you come across a coin that immediately commands attention. Its weight feels perfect, the edges are sharp, and the detail is uncanny. It's the kind of coin that makes you lean in closer, to examine every line and curve, to confirm that what you're holding is something truly special. That feeling, that rush, is part of why coin collecting is more than a hobby. It's a journey, a game of observation, patience, and sometimes, luck. For those of us who have spent decades learning the nuances of coins, who have trained our eyes to detect subtle differences, the 2016 2 Rand coin represents more than just money. It represents a challenge, an opportunity, and the thrill of discovery. You don't need to be a professional numismatist to recognize it, you just need a good eye, a little curiosity, and the willingness to explore the story behind the metal. And let's not forget the conversation it sparks. Imagine sharing a coin like this with friends, family, or fellow collectors. Suddenly, it's more than a piece of currency. It's a talking point, a connection to history, a gateway to stories that span generations. That's the power of a truly remarkable coin. It transforms from a simple object into a symbol of passion, knowledge, and sometimes even legacy. But here's the kicker, the detail that often leaves even experienced collectors stunned. The 2016 South African 2 Rand coin isn't just rare, it has been estimated to hold a value that might sound almost unreal at first. For those who recognized its significance early, who preserved it in perfect condition, the payoff is monumental. We are talking about a figure that can reach into the tens of millions, a number so large that it turns heads and challenges expectations. In fact, according to recent evaluations in the world of high-value numismatics, one coin in pristine condition has the potential to reach an astounding $14 million. $14 million for a coin you might have overlooked in 2016. That's not just a story of rarity, it's a story of timing, knowledge, and appreciation for the finer details that make certain coins priceless. So, for those of you who have coins sitting in drawers, boxes, or albums, take a closer look. The 2016 2 Rand coin is a reminder that sometimes the most extraordinary treasures are hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with vision, patience, and a love for history to recognize their true worth. It's not just about collecting, it's about understanding, appreciating, and knowing when a coin crosses from ordinary to legendary. And remember, every coin tells a story, every detail matters, and sometimes, what seems small today can be monumental tomorrow. So stay curious, keep exploring, and make sure you're subscribed, because the world of coins holds more surprises than you can imagine. The next time you handle a coin, think about the journey it's been on, the hands it's passed through, and the value it might hold. Because for the 2016 South African 2 Rand coin, that journey has led to something truly remarkable, a coin that could be worth as much as $14 million. $14 million. And that, my friends, is why collectors don't just see coins, they see history, opportunity, and legacy in the palm of their hand.